Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, it's Lord Quode here. Welcome back to another video. Recently, as I've been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I've been seeing in the Twitter sphere a whole lot of conversations regarding the camp warfare that's been going on within the game. And I kind of get confused by this because coming from a tactical shooter background such as Insurgency, if you're playing the objectives, it doesn't really matter if the other team is camping. And also, if a player is holding a position, it doesn't constitute as camping if that position happens to overlook a lane and also gives some sort of strategic advantage for your team. So I feel like I need to go into detail to kind of explain what I believe to be actual camping. Now, before you guys get your panties in a wad, again, this is coming from a tactical shooter background. I do like to play competitively, and honestly, I don't play for KD. So if you're a KD whore, then you're the type of person that's probably complaining about the whole camper warfare that's going on. Let's move into what constitutes as camping. Camping is usually done whenever you hold into a corner. That means that your back is to one wall or two walls or three walls depending on the angle. Basically 3 pieces of cover, and you're pretty much tunneled out looking at one particular spot. Now, this doesn't always mean that you're going to be effective in combat or in the game. By effective, I simply mean that you're not going to be providing any sort of benefit to your team whilst doing this. That being said, because people don't expect you to be there, because you're not playing around the objective usually, you usually end up getting some pretty easy free kills for people that are rotating through pretty quick. However, the downside to camping is that once your spot is called out, everybody will start pre-firing that spot when they go through there, as they become more aware of the spot. This creates this weird dynamic where campers, people who are infamous for just playing in dumb spots that make no sense, end up playing in a spot until they die, and then they try to move as short distance as possible from wherever they end up spawning, and then find a corner to camp again. Now notice I said a corner, because again, to camp, you have to not be covering multiple lanes. You have to pretty much have your back into a corner to where literally there's only one entrance, only one point of engagement, and usually you're going to have the drop on somebody. Now let's go into tactical positioning. If you're positioning yourself correctly, you're usually rotating between multiple portions of the map. You're usually jiggle peeking either a window, or you're jiggle peeking behind a wall, or maybe even snaking trying to get over a crate if you're out in the open. Tactical positioning is not the same as camping. Modern Warfare's map design and the majority of the objectives do cater to tactical positioning because there's a lot of lanes for console players to kind of mantle up their guns, and there's also a lot of good angles for PC players to use their jiggle peek and snap aim to their advantage. Personally, I don't play for KD, I play to win. Whether that's domination, hardpoint, search and destroy, or cyber attack, I play to win. I usually only play TDM to kind of warm up my aim and get the kind of feel for the guns. I don't really put too much in store with KD. That being said, when I checked my KD the other night, I believe it was Riot that asked me about it, I looked in the game and saw that my KD was actually pretty decent. I had like a 1.3, a 1.31, a 1.39 KD, something like that. But what was more impressive was my win rate, which was actually like a 2.14, which is pretty fucking solid. It was like 130 games won versus like 60 games lost or whatever. So it was pretty good range there. And the point I'm making with this video is just that if you're camping, or if you're getting frustrated by people who are camping, maybe you should change your playstyle and play more for the objective. If TDM is the mode that you're playing, and you're just purely playing for the KD, I don't really see what your complaint is, because that's kind of how you play TDM. I understand it's not the most entertaining thing to deal with, especially with riot shields and claymores and things along those lines, but there are perks that counter those specific little specialist things, and honestly, like I said, you can get around it if you're a good player. I wouldn't consider myself a super passive player, but when I'm being passive, I'm usually holding in multiple lanes. And when I'm being aggressive, the moment I identify a camping location, I usually pre-nade it. So if there's anybody from the Call of Duty community that ends up coming across this video in the future, I'd like you to just kind of sit back and really think about how good these maps actually are. Yes, there are some spots that end up getting camped and quite literally sat on, but those spots aren't really power positions in the map. The power positions on the maps are usually overlooking objectives, and they're pretty easy to counter, whether you're using smokes, flashes, stuns, snipers, or just brute force. Honestly, most of these angles can be taken care of or negated pretty well. So I believe that camping is when you're not playing the objective, you're sitting with your back into like 2 or 3 different walls and then holding one angle. I don't think that if you're jiggling and checking lanes. I don't think that constitutes as camping. It just means that the other team just doesn't know how to shoot. And although a lot of people can complain all they want about hit reg and stuff like that, this game actually has pretty good interpolation. Ever since Call of Duty moved away from peer-to-peer hosting, I've noticed that the overall quality of hit reg seems to be a lot better. The netcode is a lot more stable. And I think this is seriously the best Call of Duty to have been released in years. And that's not just from like a core gameplay aspect. That's also in the map design. That's in the search and destroy mode. That's in the cyber attack mode. I really think this is the best Call of Duty that's come out in years. And it's kind of annoying seeing people who have never played any other shooter, at least at a high level, talk about how this Call of Duty is just camper warfare. It's really not. It's pretty the opposite, actually. There are a lot of other shooters out there that have a worse camping problem because there's not enough flanking options on the map design, in my opinion. So I just wanted to kind of get that out there. I don't know if anybody else agrees with me. If you do, then you probably see where I'm coming from in terms of playing the objective and playing to win rather than playing for your KD. If you are playing for your KD, then of course camping is going to be like the bane of your existence, because let's be honest, if you're playing for KD, you're pretty much a camper yourself. You're just trying to be a little more mobile about it and be flashy while you're doing it, and sometimes that doesn't pan out. So there's really nothing else to be said. Like I said, I'm going to be streaming, I think tonight actually, there's going to be a little 3v3 tournament going on with myself, Riot, and Big Fire playing up against Abel Green and his boys. So make sure you guys swing by Twitch if you guys catch this video in time, and also make sure you guys are following me on Twitter. That way you guys can catch when I'm going live and catch all the new videos. Thanks for following the content, guys. Really appreciate you liking the videos and giving me feedback. It's really helpful. It really keeps me engaged. And I'm just looking forward to getting better at this game and grinding out some more content. So, thank you guys. Rest well, recharge, and enjoy. Peace of mind. Thanks.